Just one technical issue. I'm not able to see the camera. Let me see if right now it's showing the agenda. Is there a way to see the camera? Good morning, everyone. My name is Thomas Reutman. I'm a hearing officer for San Francisco Public Works. Cerise Waiters is the clerk of this hearing. This hearing is being recorded via Zoom and will be available afterward through a link on the San Francisco Public Works website, sfpublicworks.org. As this is a virtual hearing, there's no sign-in sheet. So if you'd like to receive information about the results of this hearing, please send an email to the address listed on the hearing notice. If you do not have that with you, please contact the Bureau of Urban Forestry at urbanforestry@sfdpw.org. This public hearing is being held to consider 4 items. First, public comment. Members of the public may address the hearing officer on matters that are within the department's jurisdiction but not on today's agenda. Then hearing order 212563. This order supersedes order number 212497, which was rescheduled. This is to consider an appeal for the fine issued for the illegal destruction of 5 street trees adjacent to 102 Schrader Street. The fine issued is $50,000. Next, we'll hear hearing order number 212564. This order supersedes order number 212498, which was rescheduled. This is to consider an appeal for the fine issued for the illegal removal of 4 street trees adjacent to 295 Bixby Street. The fine issued is $40,000. And the last item is hearing order 212565. This order supersedes order number 212499, which was rescheduled. And it's to consider an appeal for the fine issued for failure to protect 2 street trees during construction adjacent to 515 Octavia Street, the Living Alleys project. The fine issued is $5,180. My job as the hearing officer is to gather the facts for the hearing item, listen to your testimonies, and help our Director of Public Works make determinations. I will not be making any decisions today. Instead, I will forward the findings from this hearing and make my recommendations to the Director. The Director will make the final determinations. When the Director's determinations are made, the department will notify you of them if you've provided contact information. The hearing will proceed as follows for all cases. I will ask Public Works staff to speak first and present the case. Then I will allow the property owner, applicant, or appellant to speak. Then any member of the public or witness who wants to speak, and then the department, if the department would like to address any comments. And then if I feel it's warranted, I'll allow an opportunity for further clarification by the appellant. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes to speak. The clerk will monitor the time for all speakers and will indicate when the speaker has 30 seconds left. If you are party to this proceeding, I will call on you to speak. If you'd like to use visual materials in your presentation, please let me know before you speak. You will then have the standard 3 minutes to provide your comments. If you are a member of the public or witness who wants to speak, wait for me to call for public comments, then use Zoom's raise your hand feature and put yourself in the queue to speak. If you have dialed in by phone, raise your hand by pressing *9, and when told you are being unmuted, press *6 to unmute yourself before speaking. When it is your turn to speak, I will recognize you. Again, if you'd like to use visual materials in your presentation, please let me know before you speak, and then you'll have the standard 3 minutes to provide your comments. Comments and questions should be addressed to me and not to the department or the applicant. If you cannot finish your comments within the allotted time, you may submit written testimony to me by the end of this hearing. If I feel that a question is warranted, I will ask the question. After all comments are completed, I will close the item. We will now begin the hearing. Are there any matters in Public Works jurisdiction but not on the February 18th, 2026 agenda?
If so, if you have any comments that are not related to today's agenda but are within our jurisdiction, please raise your hand and we can call upon you. I see no hands at this time, Mr. Reutemann.
Okay, thank you. With no public comments, we'll move on to our first item, hearing order 212563 for 102 Schrader Street. Can I have the department make its presentation, please?
Mr. Caden Sullivan, you can begin speaking. Unmute yourself, and I have the presentation on the screen. Let me know if you can see it.
I can see it. If you could full screen it, that would
Okay,
be
yeah.
helpful.
I'm trying to move things around on my screen so I can see it. Hold on just a moment. I apologize because I have other things in my background. Um, did that change it?
Ah, there we go.
Is that better? Okay, now hold on. I need to be able to see my other things so I can change the screen when you're ready. Um, I'm moving things around. Just a moment. Okay, I think I'm ready. Just tell me next page whenever, and
Okay.
then I'll go.
Next, you can go to the next page. Okay. Um, uh, the San Francisco's urban forestry ordinance is codified under Article 16 of the Public Works Code. A tree ordinance establishes authorization and standards for addressing a wide range of issues regarding trees. Next page. Uh, this is an administrative hearing under Public Works Code Article 16 of the Urban Forestry Ordinance. Section 808, Section 808 is the protection of trees and landscape material. Section A, injury to or destruction of trees is prohibited. It shall be unlawful for any person to intentionally, maliciously, or through gross negligence injure or destroy a street tree, any tree on city property, a significant tree, or a landmark tree. Next page. Article 16, Section 808 continued. In addition to the penalties set forth in subsections A and B above, the director may require any person who removes or destroys a tree in violation of the provisions of this Article 16 to pay for each tree removed or destroyed a sum of $10,000 or the tree's replacement value, whichever is greater. The director may require any person who injures a tree in violation of the provisions of this Article 16 to pay a sum of money equal to the diminishment um, of the uh, tree's value as set forth in the current edition of the Guide for Plant Appraisals, Council of Tree and Landscape Appraisers. Uh, where an abutting property, where an abutting property owner removed a street tree or trees without obtaining a permit, the department shall require that the property owner plant a replacement street tree or trees with total diameter 6 inches above the ground that is equal to or greater than the total diameter of the street tree or trees that were removed without a permit. Permitted planting and removal of street trees. Removal. An abutting property owner who desires a permit to remove a street tree shall apply to the department uh, on the designated form. The department may grant or deny the permit in accordance with the following procedures and requirements. If the department grants a tree removal permit, it shall require that a street tree or trees of equivalent replacement value to the one removed be planted in its place of the removed tree or impose an in lieu fee unless it makes written findings detailing the basis for waiving or modifying this requirement. Next page. Protection of trees. Construction work, protection of trees required. It shall be unlawful for any person to engage in any construction work on private or public property without first taking steps to protect street trees, significant trees, and landmark trees from damage, including damage caused by soil compaction or contamination, excavation. Sorry, 1 second. All right, I'm back. The I'll start again. It shall be unlawful for any person to engage in any construction work on private or public property without first taking steps to protect street trees, significant trees, and landmark trees from damage, including damage caused by soil compaction or contamination, excavation, or placement of concrete or other pavement or foundation material. If excavation, construction, or landmark or street work is planned within the drip line of a significant tree, a landmark tree, or tree on any street other than publicly owned property, said tree shall be adequately protected. If any construction work results in the injury or damage to such trees, the responsible parties may be subject to the penalties set forth in section 811 of this article. Uh, so, uh, uh, next page, sorry. Article 16, Section 802, definitions. Injure or injury shall mean any act which harms or damages a tree, including but not limited to impact, cutting, carving, painting, transplanting, or knocking over, and includes but is not limited to the following injurious attachment of any rope, wire, nail, advertising poster, or other contrivance to any tree subject to the provisions of this article, intentionally or negligently allowing any gaseous, liquid, or solid substance that is harmful to a tree to come into contact with the tree, setting fire or intentionally or negligently permitting any fire to burn, when such fire or the heat therefrom will injure any part of any tree. Pruning, which in and of itself will kill or cause a tree to decline, or severing all or part of a tree. Next page. Penalties for violation. In addition to the penalties set forth in subsections A and B above, the director may require any person who removes or destroys a tree in violation of the provisions of this Article 16 to pay for each tree removed or destroyed a sum of $10,000 or the tree's replacement value, whichever is greater. The director may require any person who injures a tree in violation of the provisions of this Article 16 to pay a sum of money equal to the diminishment of the tree's value as set forth in the current editions of the plant appraisal, Council of Tree and Landscape Appraisers. Notwithstanding the monetary limitations specified above in the subsection C, if a responsible party performs major maintenance on a street tree, subject to the provisions of sections 805.1 without a permit, or injures, destroys, or removes such a tree, the department may assess a penalty of up to $10,000 per violation, in addition to the other remedies specified above. Next page. Article 16 summary. Just going over what we discussed, trees are more than just beautiful additions to the urban life. They're an essential component of the city's ecosystem and provide enormous environmental and social benefits. A permit is required to remove any street tree, significant tree, or landmark tree. It is illegal to injure a tree. Uh, Injuries can include excessive pruning and malicious acts like nailing objects to the trees, and negligent acts like vehicular accidents. Um, it is the property owner's responsibility to know the law. Ignorance is not an excuse. Uh, Best management practices. Um, Best management practices that we have that we enforce is that we do not remove more than 25% of the tree canopy each year. Uh, we we do not remove more than 25% of the foliage on a branch or limb each year. This will stress the tree and it may produce weakly attached branches the following year. It can it can kill or lead to decline. We also do not cut back to a branch that is less than 1/3 or 1/2 the size of the main branch. It is important to selectively remove branches throughout the tree, not just the lowest branches you can reach. Removing the lowest branches when it is unnecessary is sometimes called limbing up. This can cause a tall, spindly tree to form. It can also reduce trunk flare and the girth of the tree. Lower branches help keep the vigor in the lower portion of the tree, and is especially important in conifers. Severing all or parts of the tree and topping. Yeah. Next page. Um, Illegal practices. We do not top trees. Tree topping, also called hat racking, heading, or rounding over, is the practice of cutting a terminal branch to a stump or to a lateral branch that is not large enough to assume the terminal role. In general, topping is not an acceptable way to reduce a tree's canopy. In certain situations, a professional arborist may use topping to remove hazardous branches and prolong the life of a mature tree. Next page. Topping weakly topping weakly attached rapid new growth as the tree tries to recover energy producing leaves as quickly as possible. As you can see in this photo, this tree was topped and this tree is now uh, um, trying to sprout as much as it can to recoup what it's lost. This is not a success story. Next page. This same tree died the following year. It was too stressed out and it could not sustainably recoup what it had lost after being topped. Next page. Yeah. Weakly attached rapid new growth, when they grow large, are highly prone to limb failure. As you can see here in this photo, this tree had put on multiple limbs, and is now growing in a unsustainable way with all these crossing over limbs. Next page. Improper pruning as an entry. Yeah, improper pruning leads to is an entry point for pathogens. As you can see here in these two photos, these trees have some recovery from some previous prunes that are entry points for decay into the interior parts of the tree, which weakens the tree as a whole and can lead to the death of the tree. And topping is not the same as pollarding. Pollarding must be started when trees are young and can only be performed on certain species of trees. These specific species are like mulberries or sycamore trees. It's a pruning practice that needs to be started and continually done throughout the tree's life to be sustainable. High voltage power lines conflicts. high voltage power line conflicts are the responsibility of PG&E's line clearance certified arborists. CPUC General Order 95, Rule 38 requires that utilities maintain a minimum of 18 inches clearance between vegetation and high voltage conductors at all times. Go next page. Our standard tree protection specifications are displayed. This is our best management practice for any tree that requires protection in a construction zone. Our best management practice. This is what it looks like in practice. The orange fencing clearly displayed and is like visible and keeps a barrier around the tree. This is this is just another picture describing the critical root zone of keeping the tree safe of all the with the barrier around the drip line of the tree. Next page. Our requirements are specific with and the importance highlighting the importance of not we do not stockpile material. We do not allow people to stockpile materials within the protection zone. Do not pile mulch or soil against the trunk, and do not compact the soil with equipment, vehicles, material storage, and or foot traffic. Ultimately, the contractor and property owner can be held responsible for failure to protect trees during construction. Next page. Street Tree SF. That is our routine program that for which we maintain all of the street trees in the city of San Francisco. 19 million. We have $19 million and 19 million annual dollars set aside in the city's general funds for Street Tree SF. That was a mouthful. Our census completed in 2016 was used to create priorities and a routine proactive tree pruning schedule for the city's 125,000 trees. As you can see here, here's our key map. It's highlighted with the darker green for what we expect to complete in 2026 and with the light green for what has been completed in 2025. And the rest grayed out is what we completed in our first cycle that we started back in 2017. It's a work in progress. Since the start of the Street Tree SF, 81% of the tree maintenance needs have been addressed by contractors and city arborists. More than 105,000 trees have been pruned as of August 2025. We do as much we have a lot of outreach about this, and we spread a lot of messaging about not wanting the public to prune their own trees without at least letting us know, because we have an invested interest in pruning the trees in the way that we want them to be long last. Sustainably pruned. If that so moving on to the first hearing for 102 Schrader Street. We are considering an appeal for the fine issued for the illegal destruction of 5 street trees adjacent to 102 Schrader. The fine we issued was $50,000. Next page. As you can see, tree IDs 140291 and 14292. These two May 10s with DBHs 10 and 8 were fine in May 19 and were there in December 2025. Next page. And yeah, in December 2025, this is what they look like. They were total, they clearly topped. And we have three more on the next page. Here's what they looked like in before 2025, and then next page, this is what they looked like afterward. So when our inspector issued them the fine. Next page. The department has no record of ever having pruned the 5 trees adjacent to 102 Shader. Our pruning schedule indicates that the trees are due for upcoming pruning. The trees are scheduled to be pruned by the city or city contracted crews in sometime in 2026. When a constituent contacts the department for out of cycle pruning, we will dispatch an inspector if there are hazardous conditions. The inspector determines if the tree qualifies for expedited out of cycle pruning. Trees do not qualify for expedited city funded pruning for minor clearance issues as required by insurance companies. Typically, minor clearance issues which do not pose an immediate structural hazard can be addressed during scheduled pruning. Insurance companies do not consult with our city arborists prior to issuing requirements. In most cases, they do not conform to our recommendations, which support long-term health and stability. This is our typical response for when we hear when we hear about a story for a homeowner's insurance threatening to cancel somebody. We say, thank you for speaking with me today about the street tree adjacent to your property. I'm sorry to hear about the timeline and pruning requirements dictated by your homeowner's insurance policy. The city is responsible for the maintenance of the street trees in the public right of way adjacent to your property. We say that when the tree was recently pruned from our records, and then we refer them to if they to a link of if they want to coordinate an expedited pruning of the trees themselves, they will need to hire a certified arborist, and as well as a link to find local arborists in the city at treesaregood.org. And we require a scope of work to be sent that needs to be approved by the inspector for the area before the work can proceed. And the work that is on that scope of work needs to abide by our city standards. So that is essentially what we say for dealing with insurance companies. The appellate proof of insurance requirement. Pruning far exceeded the insurance company's requested 3 feet from the building. In most cases, the requirement was already met. Upon further underwriting review, it has come to our attention that required improvement / action items must be completed. Proof of completion must be submitted within 30 days to be in good standing. Yeah, so this is what we typically see in terms of like needing insurance companies to. We only allow for pruning to be done up to 3 feet, 3 to 5 feet from adjacent buildings for the street trees to keep the trees like sustainably balanced out. And insurance companies can only ever ask for that amount. So our staff recommendation for 102 Shader Street is to convert all 5 citations to illegal pruning with a maximum fine of $25.90 per tree. The total fine would be $12 grand and $950 required, and any trees that are required for removal, like if they die within the next 5 years as a result of this topping, will require replacement by the appellant. Next slide. Oh, that's it. Yeah, that is it for 102 Shader.
Thank you, Caden. Is the property owner present to make their appeal?
Yes. Paul Dennis. Thank you for that information. I would like to start that I am a senior. I sent a note from my doctor that I do have failing memory. My parents purchased the property in, I believe, 1988. During those early years, I believe the city required us to trim the trees. There was never any notices given out regarding tree maintenance. So over the years, we pretty much kind of took care of the tree maintenance. I did receive the notice from the insurance to maintain, a safe distance. So the trees probably were trimmed a little bit farther than that, and I apologize for the trimming. But the main thing is I have no information from the city regarding the maintenance and all the information that was recently shared. I would like it if there was some, sharing of that information. I became the owner about a year ago when my dad passed and the trust settled. So basically, I don't recall seeing anything from the title company or anyone else regarding when you get a new property. Usually the city sends you information on taxes, increased taxes. I didn't find anything from the city regarding tree maintenance. So when I received that request from the insurance company, it made it seem like that's my responsibility. I had no knowledge of this trees now being owned by the city. So now I'm aware and I apologize. But the trees are looking good. Now, they've been trimmed in the past before, and they're very resilient trees. They're growing. They're thriving. These trees, my dad planted them, little history, they planted them in 1990 something. And then following that, he talked to all the neighbors about planting the trees. So we love trees. I would never purposely harm a tree. We've never harmed the trees. I've never seen the city cut the trees. So if I'd seen the city cut the trees, I may have known that, the city is in charge of the trees. Never realized that. So I think over the years, we've saved the city a lot of money. I will never trim the trees again or have them trimmed. My arborist, Mr. Leggett's here. He will speak and he's going to propose, he's proposed maintaining these trees and making sure they thrive. Let's see what else. So I didn't purposely harm the tree or remove a tree, and I'm in disagreement on you saying that they're ruined or they're not. They're going to be fine. And thank you for your time. I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis.
You're welcome.
Maybe we can hear from Mr. Leggett.
Yeah, hi, this is Roy Leggett. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I provided an arborist report that is in the file that you have. And it is specifically to be a pruning plan where my company, which is comprised of myself and my associate, Aaron Wong, both of us are certified arborists, tree risk assessment qualified. We know how trees are supposed to be pruned. We understand the San Francisco pruning standard and the ANSI A300 pruning standard, which is our industry standard. And we would like to assume responsibility for the maintenance during a recovery period for the next 5 years. And potentially longer, but the proposal that I have in the report that I sent to you is for taking this over. Public Works should not have to pay for restructuring the trees or ongoing pruning maintenance during a recovery period. There is a lot of new growth occurring on the trees, and the trees the trees have a basic interior framework of branch structure to work with. So we're hoping that the regrowth on the trees is robust and gives us a lot to work with, and that we can restructure these trees over time, over the next 5 years or so, and get nice trees back. And they would be, of course, a lot bigger and have a lot more maturity than if we just tore them all out and planted new trees. So I'm hoping that we can accomplish that with approval from the Department of Public Works. And of course, acceptance of the trees back by Public Works would be subject to their inspection and acceptance. And if for some reason the trees do fail to recover, and if they do in fact die, any one of them, or are unacceptable for some reason, then Mr. Dennis could remove and replace those trees. At this point, I'm optimistic that we will see good recovery, and that's what this pruning plan is about. And it's three pages of detailed work
30 seconds.
In my arborist report, and I am very familiar with providing pruning plans and getting approval from Department of Public Works staff on a regular basis. And so we work with staff all the time. Happy to do so on this one as well. And that would be at Mr. Dennis's expense and in lieu of paying fees. So I hope that's an acceptable proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present to speak on this case?
No other hands, Mr. Reutemann.
Okay. I just had a couple follow-up questions for Buff. So my first question, and I'm not sure if you can answer this now, but you can submit it to me later if needed. But the first question is, the fine amount that was listed in the agenda was for $10,000 per tree.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says here that you want to convert those to a significantly reduced fine. Is that something
Yes.
that was decided?
So the inspector who initially issued this fine is no longer with Buff, and the case has been taken over by the inspector in charge of that area of the city now, Allegra. She is the one who made the decision to further reduce this fine.
Okay. So I guess, has the appellant been made aware of the significantly reduced fine that's being levied for this?
I don't have that answered at the moment, but I can find out.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure if
this
the
was
appellant
this,
would.
yeah, this fine was it's been in process for a while, so I'll go and check. I'll check
Okay.
whether.
The second question I had pertains to what the appellant was noting about the lack of information for a new homeowner or taking over a trust and transfer of ownership, that there wasn't any information from the city to alert the new homeowner about the requirements. And I know there's been an issue for many years about homeowners that either didn't get the message, didn't hear about it, or are new to the city and don't know about the requirements. And I know a lot of efforts have been made by the city to get that information out to those homeowners. But do you have any information about how the previous owner would have been notified, and or how a new owner that's acquiring a property can be informed about this to avoid this confusion or lack of information about the code? I know pleading ignorance on the rules is not a defense, but I feel like this has come up in a number of cases. So if you can allude to that, I'd appreciate it.
So we have pretty good like website updating, website outreach, and also just outreach in general from our urban forestry inbox. They can always, it's always in the best interest of any arborist to find out for themselves what the tree ordinance is for any city, because I know it's different in other cities, before they commence the work, and it's posted all it is posted through our public works website to always reach out to urban forestry with any questions or concerns through our inbox, or they can always call our standard number of 628-652-8733 line to get an answer.
Okay, thank you. Also, is there, the appellant said that his family owned that building, or I think they were the property owner since 1988, and that there had never been trimming by the city. Is that consistent with the city plan you described at the beginning?
I believe so, but as we have an upcoming pruning for that location that's coming this year, so we didn't have any records on file for that tree, those specific trees being pruned. So I believe they should be consistent with that key maps grid that was displayed earlier.
But it's plausible that the previous owner, the appellant's father, would have never seen the city come through with their crews to trim those trees.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I think that's all my questions.
Yeah.
This is Roy Leggett. Can you hear me by chance?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to add a couple of real basic comments. Mr. Dennis and I have been speaking over the last couple of days prior to the hearing, and neither of us was, I'll tell you, I'll represent that. We were unaware of a reduced fine amount of $12,950. So that's news to us as of today. So thanks for that update. And second of all, Mr. Dennis pruned the trees himself as a homeowner, a new homeowner. There was no tree service involved. So it wasn't like there was a professional lack of professional duty here, because he's not a professional. He's a homeowner or a property owner. So it's kind of in his defense, because he wouldn't know to look at local ordinances to determine what professionals are supposed to do or expected to do. So I think there's just a little bit of a lapse in the property transfer phase, which I think is what the hearing officer was referring to. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I just wanted to clarify those 2 points.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I don't have any other comments on this, so I think unless there's someone else that didn't get a chance to speak on this.
Yes, I have there is a question in the chat.
Okay.
That says, what is the city's turnaround time in providing an answer after notifying the city of insurance requirements to trim a tree? Mr. Sullivan, are you able to?
We work through our general inbox every single day. As for the general turnaround time, I don't think there's a specific amount, but I can find out more. I can see if I can get a solid answer on that. As we get tens to hundreds of emails every single day that we have to go through. So in terms of what our general turnaround time is, I would say the average is on the 1 to 2 days, but in terms of our responsiveness, but we do work through our inbox, going down, and we'll always have like an eventual reach out. So.
Okay, and I will also put the urban forestry and information in our chat as well, so persons can find that and send us writing. And we do have a one hand. Are you ready for comments from the public, Mr. Officer, or no?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and unmute yourself, Miss.
I've done that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you state your name again, please?
Francis Verizon.
Thank you.
So I sent a communication back January 20th regarding this case. It basically supported Paul, but also identified issues regarding notification to owners with trees on their sidewalk. And I am one of those people that never received notification, but have been successful in maintaining the tree in a manner which is acceptable to the city. So my greatest concern is just simply notification to ownership. When I worked in the fire department, I wrote a proposal to have notification go inside tax bills as a slip. And when people receive their tax bills, we know that at least there was some form of outreach to notify of individuals of code requirements. In this case, it would be trees. I'm just hoping that there's some way to resolve that issue so that people do get notified. In doing that, less incident like this one will occur for you guys. But I do want to thank you for doing everything you can to make the city better.
Thank you for that suggestion. I think, outreach is a major source of these accidental trimmings or illegal pruning. So we'll continue to work to improve that outreach.
There are no other hands, Mr. Reutemann.
Okay, then I think we'll close that item and move to our next case, which is.
Can I, I'm sorry to interrupt, Paul Dennis, may I just add on to the notification? Can I share some information, please?
To the notification?
Is that okay? Regarding notification, so when my dad passed, he was 94. He did nothing with computers. So I don't feel, and I'm 65, I don't spend a lot of time on computers. I don't feel like the notification process of going to a website is fair to older people. And he never had a computer. Therefore, he didn't share information with me. He didn't have the information. Now, I don't spend a lot of time on the computer, so I don't have the information. So as far as the website goes, I didn't even think about looking into a website during this transfer of ownership. So that's what I wanted to add is it doesn't seem fair to seniors, people with failing memories. And I really, that does upset me. That's what I want to add.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we'll move to case order number 212564.
Okay. I'm ready to continue on. Okay. It's for Bixby Street. This is for going over the removal of 4 trees.
I'm sorry, let me just interject.
Oh,
For
sure.
those of you who wish to, you're welcome to stay, but if your case has already been heard, you do not have to stay in the hearing. I just wanted to let you know that. Thank you. Pardon the interruption.
Are you mentioned the case with the address 295 Oxby?
We're just starting.
It's okay.
Okay, proceed, Mr. Sullivan. Thank you.
Okay. So going over for 295 Bixby, there were 4 trees that were removed by that the inspector for the area had said they were removed. this tree, this European holly was tree ID 219216. It had about a DBH of 7. It was there in the front yard in 2022, and in 2025 it was found to be gone. You can go to the next slide. And for well, can you go back 2 slides actually? Sorry. Oh, okay. So there were 4 illegal removals. I'm surprised that the order of the slides was this way. Anyway, so that was just one of the trees. You can go to the next slide. The next one as well. Our replacement dictates that we need caliper replacement for the 7 inches DBH that were lost. So a standard 24-inch box has about a caliper replacement of about 2 inches. So we would ask that the replacement for all 4 of those trees or for the 4 trees be 4 24-inch size boxes with any and that the applicant or the appellant may choose to plant 4 or pay the in lieu fee for the trees that they can't or don't want to plant for the loss of the trees. You can go to the next slide. Here is the slide that I was looking for. These are the 3 trees that the inspector said were gone. There is one still remaining though. It looks like it was just pruned, as that one in the far back of the tree ID 206070 is still there. So we can reduce that finding and take it off and just say that was a pruning that was done. As opposed to a destruction. But as for the other 2 trees, those 2 trees are gone. So we would still ask that we have those 2 trees removed, and that our final recommendation, if you go to the next slide, we would withdraw. So this is our staff recommendation. We would withdraw the citation and fine for the citrus species since it's still extant. And we would convert the illegal removal of the 2 Hollywood junipers to an illegal destruction of landscape, reparable by installation of the landscape material to be consistent with how we've handled similar cases in the past. We would legalize all we would need to do is legalize the existing landscape with a retroactive permit and uphold the illegal removal citation for that first tree, that European holly tree that was removed. And so we would still ask for the replacement caliper of the DBH of 7 to be 4 24-inch box size trees, as well as just a legalizing landscape. So if that makes sense, we would just ask, the final recommendation is that we would just ask for a landscaping permit to be retroactive landscaping permit be filed, as well as 4 replacement trees to account for the 1 tree that was removed. And that's it.
Is the appellant present?
Yes, we are all here.
Thank you. Please state your name and provide your testimony.
My name's Cheng. I'm here with my friend, Mr. Liu. He's the owner of this address. And when he actually, in his appeal letter, there's a 4 concern in that letters. Probably you went through with it already, but I'm here just to rephrasing it. Yeah, when they bought this house back in the 2014, the same situation like the previous case Mr. Dennis said, the title company never make it clear how the property line was laying out, especially for this house. When we see those wired fence, it is we thought the owner thought the property line is right on the wire fence, but eventually, so he thought whatever the tree inside the wire fence belongs to personal items, and so that's the misunderstanding started. And eventually, as years go by, those trees, as you show in the picture, the first pictures, that tree line's already crossing out to block the sidewalk of pedestrian, right? That's one of the reasons they start thinking to trim it down, to cut it. But the mainly two trees in front of the houses, I don't know the breed, maybe the cypress. And they grow they're just growing next to the front door. They're just growing next to the front doors. And through those years, the tree root already have a signs to attached to the foundation of the house. And the branches, just as the wind go by, it brushes the paint on the buildings. So and they start to think, wow, it's over almost, it's already above the roof. It's too big for them to handle. That was the situation. So first, they don't know what the property line is. That for this house, the property line just right on the rim of the building. Okay, they do not know that. Plus, just like the previous case, Mr. Dennis said, through all these years, they never see the city's maintenance came by either water or trim it. So it give them a hint. Think that tree belongs to us, a personal items. So when they see the tree is growing out of too big for them to manage, plus they have concern for the insurance telling them to make the good amount of space, I guess, in a previous learning of 3 inches away from the building, right? Obviously
30 seconds.
Those trees are attaching to the building. That's why they for the safety and insurance issues, they decide to cut it. Okay, and the fourth tree you'll find it still alive at that time, so it's still young, still small, and away from the building. That's why they keep it there. So that's for all the cuttings is have their misunderstanding, and they didn't receive the new regulations. Never to telling the what the owner of the trees can do or cannot do. Oh, the last thing is owner is reaching their 70s, so any yard works, it's they just want to keep it simple and keep it clean. So there's hope the city can, and that's why they have a very clean lawn in front of the yard. So they hope the city, actually we all aiming the same actually goal to make the city, make the corner, make the household clean and look nice. But this part,
thank you. Your time. Thank you.
Is there anyone else giving testimony on this item?
Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah, I'm one of the designers to help the owner at 295 Bixby to legalize their downstairs space. I'm Yang Chen. And regarding the 3 issues, and we do have a city permit over there for the legalization, including the tree restoration fees and something. But one question I'm asking for, in the city's the forest department invoice, they require us to implant for 6 trees. But on here, I think the inspector only requests us to restore for 3 trees. So my question is whether the public work can adjust that invoice amount so we can proceed with the permit.
Mr. Chen, we're losing your audio. For some reason, we are unable to hear you. Can you come back
Okay.
to the microphone?
Muted. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
muted.
that's better. That's better.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my question is, we have permit application for ground floor legalizing as the ADU, and from the public work, they have an invoice request us to restore 6 trees, not for 3. According to the inspector's comment, we suppose only required to restore 3 trees. So can they adjust that invoice to our building application permit?
If I heard it correctly, it was 4 trees for the one that was removed plus the additional 2 that got removed. But maybe
Yeah.
Buff can clarify that.
Yeah, I can clarify. So your building development requires 6 trees due to code for developments. That's separate from this fine, this citation, this replacement. The replacement will still count the like 6 trees required for your development, but the trees that were illegally removed will still need to be replaced. They won't be counted as existing on your development at this point. They'll need to be accounted for and changed. And so that'll be done through in lieu. Essentially, those will have to be counted as in lieu fees for their destruction. I'll work with, but I'm not the inspector for this area, so I will. That'll be something for Allegra to work on with you for your development. She'll
I
have
think
to
when you have
communicate this.
Yes. When you have this fine for the same amount as the planting trees,
Mhm.
and then that is duplicate charges from the city.
Mhm.
But when I applied the permit to talk to the forest persons, she said only 1 charge is only, not 2 charges for each tree. Is that right?
You'll have to check with her. She's not here at the moment, so I'll translate this message over to her. But yeah, this fine will hold up the like final built development permit if it's like unresolved, essentially. So it'll be on her to like just make the well, rather it'll be on the director to issue the decision, and then once we have that decision, we'll be able to work with you on like getting your development resolved.
Okay, the other issue I'm talking about is in the development plan, they said we need to plant 6 trees. But
Mhm.
based on my on-site investigation and on my submitted plan, they're only able to implant for 5 trees. But the future inspector insists on we need a 6 tree. I'm questioning about that because they use total frontage, lot frontage from Bixby and the Garfield, so total 115 feet. But based on my field investigation and design concept, each tree spacing should be 20 feet. And then on Bixby, we only able to implant for 5 trees. And on Garfield tree, we are only able to implant for 1 tree. So total is 5, not 6.
Mhm.
But the development, they keep on saying we need to put 6. So how can I resolve this with your public works department?
It'll be on the inspector to like find not to find where the tree can go, but to be worked with on like because we can also in substitution of a tree, you can do 75 square feet of sidewalk landscaping. That's like an alternative here, but that's not up to me to make the like call on. That'll be on the inspector to see if, what she thinks can be done. I understand the inspector you had before was Federico, and he is no longer with Public Works. So
Okay, so
there has been
who should we talk
change.
contact to?
It'll
Who
be
should I
Allegra. It'll be Allegra. This is
Allegra.
her area. Yeah. Yes.
So I need an email to him to make an appointment with him to discuss all these, right?
Yes, you'll have to. You can send an email to our urban forestry inbox and we'll get you in touch with the inspector.
Okay, good. Thank you. You answered my question.
Just to clarify, I think so. Mr. Chan was contending that 6 trees wouldn't fit on the frontage to have adequate spacing. But that's required as the development permit. But that's independent of the 4 trees that were removed. So originally the permit would have required the 4 trees remain plus 6 new ones. Is that your interpretation?
Yes.
So
because those requirements for the development are for street trees, not for significant trees. And I believe these trees are considered significant because they are not on the street. They're within the property line.
Okay, the setback.
The setback.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're being reasonable if we're asking for trees on the property that can't fit there. In addition to the ones that were removed and being asked to be replaced. Maybe someone from Buff can just help coordinate with the applicant to.
Yes, it'll be on the inspector to make the decision with that. And as I said, they can put their questions in writing in an email, and we'll put them in touch with the inspector to like make the decision on. This has been changed hands, so it's been quite the quite confusing to make a final decision on. And the removal of trees has complicated it further. So Allegra will be the one to like put this mess to fix this mess, essentially this mess of like instructions.
Understood. And these 2 juniper trees that they're within the setback that's in the purview of the city, even though they're on the private property.
Yes, they are still protected trees. Yes, but as our staff recommendation was to convert these 2 trees, these junipers, into landscaping trees, as to consider them instead of going through the whole tree removal destruction. We would just instead convert these to landscaping, and we would just ask that you legalize the existing landscaping with a retroactive permit, and then uphold the illegal removal for just the one tree. Sorry if that makes sense, for the European holly tree that was removed at the corner of the property.
Got it.
Yeah, we can convert just those 2 junipers.
And I guess the only other question I have is I haven't seen all the supplemented letter yet, but is there any photos or other documentation that's been submitted to support that the foundation was being encroached on with the tree roots and the roof and paint and so forth? There was some structural concerns. I didn't know if if there were any photos showing that, or a report from an engineer, or any other documentation to help support that case.
I have not received any documentation for that, but I can look into it to see if there is. I will say that if there was like a tree removal permit for like significant trees that was like applied for, that is usually something that's within the like balance of like fitting our criteria to like approve for removal, and like doing a 30-day posting on for like property damage and like the lack of sustainability with these kinds of issues with trees that are like affecting a foundation or scraping against like a house. They're just too big.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Is there anyone else here to speak on this case?
No other hands.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll close this item and move to.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I understand there's a new inspector by the name of Allegra. And is there a follow-up email or phone we can address to her attention?
It would be our general inbox, the urban forestry.
Okay,
Yeah, at sfdpw@sfdpw.org. You would just send us an email
Okay.
through there, and
Okay.
we will forward that to the inspector. We will get their attention.
Okay, thank you.
You can also call us at the 628-652-8733 line as well, and we will eventually get to your voicemail.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, sirs. And usually, how long we can hear
So
the
typically,
decisions from inspector? Yeah.
typically it does take an inspector a few days to like receive and respond to an email, but with the current short staffing that we have that we're dealing with, it may take longer. So I don't have an exact like time frame for you, but yeah, we do our best to like try and get through our emails and inbox. We are pretty committed.
Okay, thank you, sir.
这个需要我们写声明，就是留着那棵树的嘛，修给他。对呀，他刚就问你要不要？对呀，你需要就这棵树。这个他有对，但是没有修出来。
We're gonna move to order number 212565.
Okay, next slide. So for order 212-565-515 Octavia Street, this is fine to consider the failure to protect of 2 street trees. And the fine issued was $51.80. Next slide. As you can see, there are 2 street trees with tree IDs 59958 and 59963. They were Ceanothus Ray Hartman and a California Lilac Ray Hartman, both with a DBH of about 3 and 3 inches. And as you can tell from the photos, you can see a very clear construction site with 0 tree protection for these relatively newly planted trees in the yellow boxes, with piled materials against the trees, piled construction material. This specific contractor has knowledge of our tree protection requirements. This Octavia Living Alleyways contractor has received a $10,000 fine for failure to protect trees on a similar project along Sunset Boulevard in 2025. And if you go to the next page, on page 481 and page 488 in the PDF document, it indicates our code requirements for what they needed to follow with our tree protection specifications. This is kind of hard to read, but essentially it says in there, this is their requirements for tree protection for with the noted knowledge of their protection requirements that the contractor has. So yeah, if you can zoom in, we can see, but otherwise that is just the documentation that we have that they are required to follow, that they have received.
So there's a specification that's in the contract for
Yes.
that contractor. Okay.
And that is it.
Thank you. Is the appellant present?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, please state your name and provide your testimony.
Matt Ramirez, RNS Construction Management. So on this particular project, we were doing renovation of the existing alleyway, and the project calls out for various protection of various trees on the project. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of 24 trees. As
I'd venture to say, I can't remember exactly, but pretty close to 24 trees were protected. The two trees that are in question next to the tree that is protected, I had thought that one of them is protected. It kind of is unclear with the picture next to the one that's next to the machine. But it is kind of hard to see.
Could you go back a slide?
Does this count my 3 minutes? Do I get extra time?
No, I had not stopped the clock. I pause it
Okay.
now, but I don't stop unless the hearing
Okay.
officer tells me.
So it's on 59958. I don't know. It's kind of hard to see if it's protected. Anyway, that's kind of my position with that one. It looks protected, but it's kind of hard to see with the picture. 59963 is not within the scope of this project. So they give us a tree protection plan that stipulates which trees to protect on the project. And this one wasn't protected because it's not on our contract with DPW. So that's why we didn't protect that one. The machine that is next to the tree, there isn't any construction work going on. The machine is parked next to the tree, but there's no construction that happened next to the 59963 tree, and the reason we didn't protect it was because it wasn't in the contract. I have
30 seconds.
I have the document. If I could admit it as evidence, I would like to.
Yeah, please email it to the clerk.
Okay.
So before we depart from that picture, I mean, is there something I'm not an expert on this, but I'm looking at the tree in the foreground, 59958. And what protection are you saying it has if it doesn't conform to the requirements of the protection?
It just looks maybe it's just the picture. There's a lot of orange. It looks similar to the tree that says partially protected. It looks like there's orange around it. It's, I'd have to really look at
Well, the orange is just the temporary barricades. I don't see any four-poled box protecting that tree. Those are just the tree. I forgot what they call them.
Like
The
fencing.
stands, the staking, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see anything on that tree. I mean, again, if you know something I don't know about protection, please share that with us. But that tree doesn't appear to have anything on it.
if you zoom in, can you zoom in a little more?
I already zoomed in because we were further back. I don't know if it's gonna.
Is this site being actively worked on right now?
The project is completed. It's substantially complete.
Okay. Is the tree, what's the condition of the tree? Is it damaged?
I don't believe any of these trees are damaged. No. There's been no reports of any damage.
So the first tree in the foreground is ostensibly didn't have protection at the time it was inspected. The one in behind it was, you're saying that was it shouldn't have been included in the project footprint, so it's not relevant. You just happen to be parked there.
Yes, that one was not within the project limits, the documents and the contract that we got with DPW.
Got it. Do you know, this is for Caden, I'm not sure if you can answer this, but is the protection required only when they're working directly adjacent to the tree, or does it need to be in place for the duration of the project?
No, it needs to be placed for the duration of the project as long as there's work going on within the drip line of the tree. And as for the tree on the adjacent property that looks like it's not within the barricades, we actually can still require tree protection just based off the excavator that's next to it, because we can require tree protection for trees that are also on adjacent properties of the construction happening. As well, as long as there's any kind of construction equipment or material or machines around the trees, we can require them to be properly and adequately protected.
Okay, so for the tree in the back, the 59,963, does Buff have any correspondence where an inspection report or a violation was issued to the contractor saying that tree needs to be added to the protection?
I don't have their project plans in front of me, but I can find out. I can reach out to the inspector and find out if they're if that was required, if that was explained and required of them.
Yeah,
From our document show is we were just given the fine. It was just kind of, yeah, just kind of out of the blue and not out. I mean, I don't know, like there was no construction in that area. It was like the machine was just parked there for a little bit. I mean, I see construction machines all over the city from DPW. You know, if they have to park somewhere, they're not going to throw up a tree protection just to park.
No, understood. I think if you can show us what you were talking about, submitting the plan that was in the contract that identified which trees, and then from our side, if there was any correspondence saying we need you to go beyond what's in the contract and add this to the contract to protect this tree prior to the fine, then I would want to have that information in my hands to help make a judgment.
Mm-hmm.
But what I can say right now is if the contractor was not notified that this tree was needing to be added and it wasn't scoped in their contract to protect that tree, then the back tree is probably not going to get included in the fine. The front one, unless you have some photos from your side, Matt, that show that you had it protected during construction, the photos that the department has don't indicate any protection on that tree. So maybe you have construction photos that you can help assert that it was protected properly.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a public works project, but you know, you can connect with the construction field staff to see if they have other photos.
I think in this case, the field staff contacted Buff and told him to come. So I don't know what.
Doesn't sound like you want to call those guys then.
Yeah, but I'll look for our own.
Check your own daily reports or photos and see if you can find something. I'll wait a few days so I can take whatever documents you can provide in the city as well, and we can see what we can do to be fair on this.
Okay.
I think it's probably worthwhile to note, though, from Buff, if there's any way that is there any documentation that there was any damage to these trees, or is it strictly because it was not protected?
It was simply just the lack of protection was noticed. I believe I'm looking through the asset events right now, and it looks like we didn't have anything from anything recent. We've had some sidewalk repairs done, but nothing in like 2020, but no like inspections from buff as of like from 2025.
Got it.
So yeah.
Is the tree in the foreground also included in the fine, this partially protected tree? Does that
No,
constitute?
we didn't,
Okay.
that was not, we gave them credit for it, to say like, the tree was protected, even though it was just partially protected.
Okay.
At least the fencing and staking were there.
The problem with this one is that there isn't enough space in the front leaning edge of the tree, or is it just that the condition of the tree is such that that's
Yeah. I believe that's for the line of logic the inspector had gone with, was the leaning of the tree was more of the reason why they deemed it partially protected.
got it.
Our documents show that tree is tagged for removal
I believe, yeah.
Ficus tree.
or something.
Okay. Well, if that one's not part of the fine, then we can just focus on the two. So I'll look out for whatever you can find from your files. Please send that over in the next couple of days if you can.
Okay.
Where do I find the email again?
It's urban. I can put it in the chat. It's urban forestry SF. If you can see that, it's urban forestry at sfdpw.org.
And if you send those will, the clerk, Cerise Waiters for this hearing can share those documents with me.
I can't see the chat. Is it urban forestry at? I can find it, but
It's SF, so like San Francisco, DPW, Department of Public Works, .org. Yeah. So it's SFDPW.
Oh, here it is. I got it. Okay, sounds good. I think that's all I got for this one.
Let me.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here providing testimony on this case?
That's it for our side.
Thank you. We can close this item. And is there anyone that joined late that is here to speak on any of the cases today that didn't get a chance to speak yet?
No, there are no other attendees.
Okay, then with that, we can close this item and close the hearing. And if you've shared your information with the Bureau, then we'll follow up with you if there's any follow-up questions or with the results. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.